Welcome to Odd Musings with, what's the name?
Scott and Brett.
You heard him.
All right.
I'm
Thanks,
D.
Steve.
Snyder.
Hey, welcome to Odd Musings, episode number 180. We are back in semi-lockdown again. In fact,
Yes,
I just
lockdown
got the
2.0.
message on the phone letting me know that the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services has required all kinds of crap for us again. So,
Yeah.
and closed
Yeah.
our restaurants, indoor dining, closed
Yes.
our movie theaters, closed our bowling alleys.
And by no, I mean, I'm sure it's just pure coincidence, but the company responsible for a lot of these COVID tests that are coming back positive just so happens to be named Dominion Diagnostics, and the big election mess is Dominion Software.
Yeah.
So I'm currently researching to find out if they're co-owned by the same people, but I find it odd. We have two Dominions causing all this. So
Yes. Yeah.
I'm
So-
sure it's just coincidence, and nothing to see here. Move along.
Yeah, we're not going to get too much into it, but I think what irritated me was our infamous, glorious leader of the governor. She decided that to have a press conference. She spent half hour telling us what was going to be done, but she's not doing it. It's the Michigan Department of Health.
Yeah, it's just like California. Governor Newsom shut down all their restaurants, and the next day he was caught on camera with his friends and family at a restaurant.
Yeah.
So, what do you take that for whatever.
As we're
it
finding
is.
out for some of these people it's do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
Because the little people can do what they want. Though these are our elected officials, and they act like that they don't have to actually answer to the people, which is wrong. So,
Yeah.
I did like what it's if they got to do something. I liked what the Ohio governor did. Some people I know posted stuff online saying they were stupid, but he instituted a curfew from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. But he didn't close all these places. He's just saying, we're trying to limit some of the bigger gatherings, and I understand that, but at the same time, it's like, why are you gonna?
I don't care what they say, as long as they support. If for some reason, if you are at a Black Lives Matter rally, or you're burning down a city or looting a store, for some reason that is not condemned and treated as a super spreader event.
Yeah.
And it's like the Biden supporters, they were all out in the street celebrating in masses. So they want to advocate arresting people who do stuff to break these curfews, but then they do it.
Yeah.
It's like, listen, either you believe it or you don't. If you don't believe, I don't.
Yeah.
I believe in the virus. I believe that's real, but
Yeah,
there's
virus
so
is
much
real.
crap. I know tons of people with it right now. And guess what? So far, almost all of them, only a couple of them had it severe. It's a mild cold at best for them. They only know they had it because they got tested and it said they had it. Otherwise, they just thought it was from the change in weather. And how do we know they're even getting accurate positives? And how do we know it's testing COVID-19 strain and not just other coronavirus strains, which common cold is coronavirus? So
Yeah, people forget that.
yeah, so these tests are not highly accurate. There's a ton of false positives. One celebrity, I forget her name, her results were put out there that she was positive, and she released the true results. She was positive in her left nostril, negative in her right nostril, or vice versa.
Yeah.
So come on.
It's because they've said this on throughout the different news stuff, and they've talked about it. They say it to get it legally out there, but they've said it since this whole thing started that they're getting false positives because the flu and the common cold, when these tests go, they think it's a positive, and it's actually just those.
Correct. But then,
and yes, I know, and I got people, friends that work in hospitals, talking about how bad it is in the hospitals. That's fine. I'm wondering how people really need to be in the hospital, how many are being thrown on ventilators again that shouldn't be thrown on ventilators, because they found that the ventilators actually cause clotting, all this, because they're trying to intubate them when they have just trouble breathing, and they should be able to breathe on their own to get it out of their system.
right.
So,
yeah.
but that's
on to fun things.
Yes.
On to fun things.
We got to talk about some Mandalorian today. I was telling Scott I watched the Lego holiday special Scott, did I see that you watched that the Queen's Gambit?
I did. I can give a quick review.
I have watched it too. So
oh, you watched it? Okay.
yes. So
this will be.
Let's give it a minute. So let's do our ad reads first.
Yeah, let's do that.
We got to get the business to take care of this stuff. We do this beginning so y'all will actually pay attention to our ads and then stick around for the fun of the show. But I want to start off with Lawrenceur Family Chiropractic Center, PC, located in Belleville, Michigan, and Dexter, Michigan. As y'all know, I've been a patient there for many years. In fact, Dr. Anna looked at me yesterday. She goes, how long have you been coming here? And I said, about 10 years. So we talked about some things I'm not going to talk about in here because it had nothing to do with the chiropractic. It was something else. But it's one of those things where the last couple of weeks I've had some issues with the weather change, going hot to cold, getting hit in the back by a cart by someone I know, and not being severely damaged, but definitely hurt. And so I get, but definitely
when people run into me with a shopping cart who know me, it's usually intentional.
Oh, it was intentional, but he thought it was
there, Scott.
It was supposed to be a light tap, not put me on my knees. But at Lawrenceur Family Chiropractic Center, you take great pride in providing the finest chiropractic care to each and every patient. The offer, I find, is a great thing because you get your X-rays right away. They can look at them, so you're not waiting a day or even hours. It's almost immediate to see those. They offer massage therapy, orthotics by foot levels, young living essential oils, aromatherapy, full line of items, all in a family-oriented environment. Give them a call. Belleville location 734-697-4244. You can visit them online at Lawrenceur Family Chiropractic Center PC. LawrenceurFamilyChiropractic.com. And then we have the link at Odd Musings. That's the Facebook page there, showing some of the stuff. And that's Dr. Anna, Dr. Brian up in the corner there. They also have a lot of good products. In fact, Scott, I've got some CBD for you. We'll talk after the show. I got a few of those, but yeah, while they're not a sponsor at this time, we still like the Stony Creek hemp, and that is some of the greatest products out there. And you can get it at Lawrenceur Family Chiropractic Center in Belleville or occasionally in Dexter as well. And then we also have another great sponsor, which I have a question on this before you start this, Scott. With the new restrictions, is there new restrictions for realtors as you guys are going into the next few weeks?
Funny you should ask.
Ha ha! Here, I will drink and listen.
So we're Teen Titans Real Estate. We're here for you for all your real estate needs. So as you know, we are entering like a new phase of shutdowns. No one believes that we're actually going to be only 3 weeks. Anyways, as far as the actual restrictions go, don't worry. We are still buying and selling homes. It's not as strict of a lockdown yet, though my sources tell me that might be coming down the road. But as of right now, we're not as strict as we were at the beginning of all this back in like March when we first did the shutdowns. We had to have people buying houses without even walking through them. It was ridiculous. That's not the case now. We are still allowed to do in-person showings. However, there are some limitations, and this is what they are. We are not allowed. The key rule in all this is 2 households, no more than 2 households. And this seems to be the situation all across. She's limiting things to gatherings of 10, but no more than 2 households. So if you have 5 people getting together, but you're part of 3 households, guess what? You're banned. You're not allowed. Thanksgiving. Oh, grandpa lives in a different house than you and your kids. That's 3 households. She's saying you're banned. Ignore her. Do what you want. But with real estate,
I'm not having Thanksgiving dinner. We're having a protest.
Yeah.
Now you're allowed 300. Yeah, and refreshments will be served.
And now, if you have a funeral for the turkey, you could have 30 people because funerals are allowed 30 people because that's how it works. But anyway, so open houses are not allowed right now because that's more than 2 households. For showings, I find this ruling interesting. So the agent counts as 1 household, the buyers count as 1 household, which is interesting because a lot of times buyers are 2 separate households until they buy the 1 household. The seller, whose household we're in, cannot be present because they are a separate household. So the seller must leave the premise. Buyers are allowed there. They are not allowed to have any extended family, parents, whatever, join them, and we can take them through the house. So showings are allowed. That was a long way around to say, yes, you can still see houses.
All right.
But also, like, if, let's say sometimes people are at the very beginning of their searches. Mm-hmm. We typically require people to have a full pre-approval before we show houses, but if you're at the very beginning and you don't even know if you want to go through the process, you just want to see what's out there, we will allow 1 or 2 showings just as a feeler to say, hey, is this even the types of houses that we think we can get?
Yeah.
We're not allowed to do that right now. You must be fully pre-approved for us to give you any showings. So you got to be a serious buyer. But we're doing showings still. We had a house sell extremely fast the other day, last week there. Went in less than 48 hours. We had 8 to 10 offers come in. Almost all of them were well above asking price. So we have a happy seller. That deal's moving along nicely. Already had the inspections and appraisals. So, so we're good. So give us a call, 586-549-6096, and we will give you a free consultation on how you can make your real estate goals come true.
I'd like to apologize to our audience for the use of that 4-letter word that Scott just did. That,
yes.
Free is not a word we like to use freely. I'm kidding.
Yes.
I use that at shows, and I haven't been to a convention so long, so I haven't got to joke about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, come on out. Get a complimentary walkthrough.
Complimentary. And I might even give you compliments.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Before we jump into some more stuff, I wanted to share a picture I posted to your partner in crime and my good friend, Jill Webler. She does her design work and all that. And that's the wreath she did for Mom last year. We just got it hung up yesterday. And I just wanted to say what a great job. She does those wreaths through her beautiful home design. And she's just a fantastic creative person on that. And I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Jill Webler.
Yeah, she's been a decorating fiend this year. I mean, she recently moved, so there was the whole process of moving and then decorating her current house. And then as soon as she finished with that, Christmas came, so then redecorating again. Then she has her clients, and then she decorated here at work, which our lobby looks phenomenal. She did a great job there. So yeah, feel free to check her out. Beautiful Home Makeovers is what it's called.
Yep, great stuff, and we love the wreath, and it stays up for us past Christmas, usually into February, March.
Of course, you've got the Sean Connery homage wreath.
Yeah, look it now. Let it snow. Yeah, I saw someone posted. They had a T-shirt they made up, and it said "Let It Now." And
that's awesome.
And they made the IT a different color, so you say, "Well, it is Let It Snow," but it's just the way it's laid out.
Exactly. I loved how they would always do that on Jeopardy. So yeah. But
not that I would wish anybody dead, but we're gonna have to. When Will Ferrell dies, we'll have to go up there, and they can do a brand new Jeopardy episode with real people.
Well, right now we have Burt Reynolds is also there.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Turd Ferguson, and we got Sean Connery now and Alex Trebek. Who was the other popular one on there? They just had random. They would rotate who. So, but yeah, good times. Yeah. I also want to give an update. If you could share my screen here, our good friend Sean Forney, his Kickstarter was successful.
And we're getting the map.
We're getting the map. They broke the 8,000 mark. So
over $1,000 from him being on the show a week ago to the show to their thing ending. It ended on Wednesday night, didn't it? Or no, Thursday.
Was it Thursday night? I forget.
I think it was Thursday, yeah.
But
it was great to see everybody jump out and support the Kickstarter initially, as well as just in that last day to have another $1,000. I have almost, almost 20% pop back on and get them over those stretch goals, get the extra stickers and everything else. So this is exciting. Yeah. Kickstarter is such an awesome tool. We've got more coming up for Bardstone, where I'm finishing up Wretched Realms right now. I've been working crazy on that. Should be ready by December 1st for me to start sending files to the printer. I'm just doing final touches on colors now. I'm really happy with where things are going on that. Yeah. We've got Poe Macabre Master #2 coming out in probably February. We'll launch that Kickstarter. Then we got Crimson Shadows #2 right behind that. I've got a number of other stories. Hey, if you want those stories, use me for your real estate, because the more money I make in real estate, then I can pay others to draw.
and we don't have to wait for me to draw every single issue, because I've got some great stories. I've got a sci-fi space series I want to put out, which if I can, I'll put it out as a micro series through Wretched Realms, but I'm hoping to do it as a full series too. But that one I would need to hire it out. So use me for real estate. The more houses you buy through me, the more comics I can make for you.
There you go.
But speaking of which, we're also looking for people who have their own. If you're an artist and a creative writer, and you're looking for an avenue to put your product out, Bardstone's here for you. I'm talking right now with we got our good friend Rachel Boggs. She has a series she's working on right now. I won't talk about details of that, but we might be working with them on through Bardstone to be their distributor. So we're in talks right now. So hopefully that happens. And if you have a project, here's the thing. This is what a lot of creatives don't know until they do it. As a creative, you just want to create. You want to make your thing and get it out to the world. But making it is one step. Actually getting the printing, doing the Kickstarter, fulfilling the Kickstarter, distributing it out, representing it at shows, that's a lot of work. We do all that other stuff. So we can be your distributor. You'll still own your title. You'll sign with us for a set time or whatever, or a quantity. We'll work it out between us, but you still own your product. We don't own your product. We own, we'll distribute and sell at shows and that stuff. So while we're doing all that, you can still focus on creating your next thing. And so if you have a story idea that you wanted to get into print, let us know. We'd love to talk to you.
Yeah, definitely. And the more we get out there, the better it is. So.
That's right.
But I'm glad to see Sean did well. It's been a lot of great Kickstarters going on again through the fall here, and
I've been loving it. It's been like being a kid again. As far as remember growing up, you were excited when the mail came because some toy you ordered 6 weeks ago came in finally or whatever. That's kind of how it is with the Kickstarters. All these Kickstarters I backed over the last year, they're all starting to arrive slowly, and every other week I seem to be getting something in the mail. It's like, oh my God, this is great. I forgot I even got this.
Yeah, I've got a few. I'm like, I was like, they show up, I'm like, oh yeah, this is cool. I forgot about this one, and something new to read and fun like that. Yeah. And that's actually when I love the Kickstarter because it still gives me the experience I like at Comic Cons, which I'll be honest with you, I even in the last few years haven't seen a lot of, is finding more creative owned stuff. It got to the point where everybody's just doing individual artwork, not creating any books. And some people kind of poo-poo when I say this. I don't mean this negatively per se, but it's I tell people you need to start doing some books, and they were like, "Why?" I'm like, I'll just do prints and stuff like that. I was like, books add a little more legitimacy to what you do, and if you have something out there that's published, it gives you a little more than just having some prints. I said anybody can do artwork and prints. I said if you do something creative on your own, I said it adds a little more to it, and that's what I loved about hitting up shows like Denver. And things like that I hadn't been to because I was seeing a lot more creatives out in different areas than I was seeing here in the Midwest. And while we've had some good people that put out some stuff, it's nice to see people are getting back into that again and getting away from just the print work and actually printing books and creating stories. And that's what I've got, a couple of short boxes full of independent comics I loved over the years that people put out that you can't get anywhere else. Heck, most of them they barely are out anyways. And there's some I wish they could have done more. I got like with the one issue and then they disappeared because they just didn't make any money because it's tough to make money doing this. And
actually you won't make money doing this.
Yeah. Pretty much.
You really won't unless and this is the key. There's a combination of factors. One, you got to have high enough print volumes to lower the per issue cost. But you also have to have high enough sales volume that you didn't buy 8,000 issues that never sell. So you've got to be able to order large quantities, be able to move them. That's what we're trying to do here at Bardstone is by doing these multiple Kickstarters and unifying our different fan bases and bringing them together. We're able to order a little larger quantities and then use those extra quantities to act as future rewards for other Kickstarters, to use it as product for shows, to use them in all these different ways. So it allows us to order higher quantities because we're sharing in it together and using our enlarged fan base that we've created together. And that's what we can do for you.
Right. And there's a lot of great ones out there that are kind of doing the same thing within the Kickstarter realm as they create more issues, they're offering the previous stuff. And I was actually going to look and see if I could find one.
There's a snowball effect too to building these things. Yeah. There's a lot of people where, just as Brett said, you get a ton of issue number 1s out on all kinds of great ideas, but issue number 2 never happens, because when you work alone, it can easily take 5 years to do one issue, because you're trying to cram it in between the paying projects, because you don't make money on a standalone issue. You never will, unless you have some crazy luck. The reality is it takes you a while to build up a fan base for any one series. And there's a lot of people who decide, like, I don't want to get into this unless there's at least like 3 or 4 issues out, so I know they're actually doing this. So each time you come out with a new issue on the series, which is why it's important for us to get Poe number 2 out so quickly and Crimson Shadows number 2 out so quickly, because we want people to see we're serious about these titles. We're not just, hey, here was a fun idea, we're throwing it out there, and then we never touch it again. Right. We're serious about actually telling the entire story for each of these. So with Crimson Shadows, I've already written through, I think I'm halfway through issue 5 right now for writing, so I've got an extended storyline. So we have actual intent, and through our shared resources, we're actually getting them done quickly. That's what's nice.
And while this is not a paid sponsor from anybody, I just want to share, because it's a good friend of mine, Enrica. She's got a new Kickstarter out there that she supports. Yes. And right now it's Crossing, and this is number 1 through 5. So this is a new issue in this series, and it definitely, they're already pledged, so it's a goal. Check them out. Yep. And they've got all the different, unlocking stretch goals, stuff like that. They offer other stuff that they've done within that, like the Ninja Bear mini comic, things like that. There's
I got that one.
Yeah, I got the Ninja Bears. Here's the Crossing, which I've seen that I looked at that in San Diego last year.
He should probably get off those tracks. That train is approaching.
But there's a lot of cool stuff there. But yeah, it's like one of the things, like, oh, well, I don't have any of these comics. Well, you go through here and you'll see like this. Pledge $10 or more, and you have your choice of Crossing number 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, the printed comic, the deluxe PDF of that. And then as you go down further, there's other options to eventually get, like all the stuff. So it's a great stuff on that. And I just wanted a quick shout out to my good friend Enrica out there. Love seeing how she's doing this. I've known her for 10 years or more. And she's always publishing, writing. She's a fantastic writer herself, getting stuff out there. And she's a hustler in the best way when it comes to showing off the great artwork out there in comics. And she does anthology stuff like that. So definitely check that out. And it's Enrica, ENRICAJANG on Kickstarter. You can find her and check out that great Kickstarter. Because, yeah, she promoted the Ninja Bear one. That was a great read. I enjoyed that one. And as I like to do through our show, is try to promote our friends. But if you're not a friend of ours and you want us to promote your stuff, send us money and we will do that for you.
Indeed.
So, all right. Well, hey, we're 25 minutes into the show already, and always fun stuff here. But the greatest thing this week, I mean, we did not see Sabine Wren, but we did see Bo-Katan on The Mandalorian.
That's right.
So, and there they are right now. That is, the group that we saw. They are appear to be of the same clan. Though Bo-Katan said it was her, like when asked about her armor, it's been in her family for three generations. Yep. And she mentioned the clan and everything else being born on Mandalore.
And you can see the character names on the bottom. So the male is Axe Woves, and then Sasha Banks, and what was her title? What was her credited name?
She is credited as Mercedes Varnado, which is her
real name.
Part of her real name. She's got a pretty long real name. She is Mercedes Kestner Varnado, and she's a actress, and of course known as Sasha Banks. That's her ring name on the WWE.
And in The Mandalorian, she's known as Casca Reeves. It looks like.
Yes, so, Casca Reeves. So with a K.
It was really nice to see Katie Sackhoff portray her character that she voiced in the Clone Wars and in Rebels. So it was really good to see her in this.
Which shows how much they modeled the animation on her, because it definitely resembles her.
But now, I do have to question her age. I haven't gone back and looked up everything, but Obi-Wan Kenobi, this is taking place like 5 years or something after Return of the Jedi. So you know how old Obi-Wan Kenobi was?
Correct.
Obi-Wan Kenobi was dating her sister.
Yes, which is Satine. Satine.
Yep, Duchess Satine.
Yeah.
So she's either got some really good Botox going on, or she's way younger than her other sister. Or Satine was way younger than Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I don't know. That's definitely it's a thing there, but they age. I think part of the thing is because Obi-Wan was so old in the original New Hope, it kind of changed how, and as they go through, they're kind of semi-retconning his age a little bit and aging him. It's like he aged faster being on the
because of the Sons of Tatooine, it made him look older. But actually, he really did just look older. Mark Hamill is older than Obi-Wan was in real life. Alec Guinness when A New Hope started. So I think part of it is the older generation actually did look older. You look at old pictures of people like in their 40s, they looked 65, 70 in their 40s. So,
but we did see her in Rebels, which Rebels takes place just prior to A New Hope. So this would put this about 10 years from the time we saw her on Rebels.
Let's see.
I found an article and I was trying to see if they give her age. But they haven't done that yet here. She was
I'll look on Wikipedia.
Yeah, I looked at Wikipedia. I've got her up on there. But another article here says that she was. We first meet her during the Clone Wars, which took place from 22 to 19 BBY, which is before the Battle of Yavin. And then, assuming she's at least in her 20s during the war, she would have to be in her 40s by the time Luke Skywalker took down the Death Star.
Okay, so she's about 50.
Late 40s, early 50s, which puts her in the range that she is in. In real life. I don't know how old. I mean, let's see how old she is. So, and
the Night Owls. That's the name of her group, I think. Yeah, the Night Owls, which is why she has that the owl on her helmet.
Yeah. Well, she was born in 1980, so Katie is 40.
Okay.
Yeah, 40 this year. So, so she's playing probably technically a little bit older, but I don't think based on what I'm reading here, it doesn't look like it's too much out of the range of where she would be at. Right. She is the younger sister of Satine, who gave her the nickname Bo, and that's why she's called Bo-Katan.
I didn't know that part. Yeah. So I gotta give a little correction because for myself. So last week I was thinking Bo-Katan was dead. And so after this aired, I was like, wait, how is she around? So I went back and looked up to see how come I thought she was dead? So what it was back in season 1, when the Darksaber appeared, the assumption a lot of fans made, and there were some theories going around that the only way Bo-Katan would possibly give up her Darksaber would be if she was killed in battle and then it was taken from her. So the theory was that Moff Gideon must have killed her or something and got the Darksaber from her. So yeah, in canon, she was still alive. I didn't realize that. So that was a pleasant surprise when they arrived on the ship. Her first words to when they were rescuing him from the water there, her first words to him, I'm like, wait a minute, that's Katie Sackhoff's voice. What's going on here? I'm like, she's alive? What? So it was a pleasant surprise. And the episode was great. They have done such a great job of bringing Mandalorians to life.
Yeah, and Filoni and Favreau going into Clone Wars and Rebels, and which Filoni, of course, has worked through, and just pulling out these things to add into it that, like, hey, you thought this was done? No, here's this storyline here. This is, listen, and pulling in the Bo-Katan character is great. And of course, we now know. I like how the initial, they saved him, and then if you watch the quick recap at the beginning episode, talked about him not removing his helmet. Well, they removed their helmets right away. Right. And he just like, where'd you get that armor? That's not allowed. And they've alluded to the fact that he is part of which he doesn't even understand. He just assumes it's just the way that there was different sects within the sections of the Mandalorian. And he's from this sect that believed the old ancient way of never returning your helmet.
Which they also clarify. He not only is he of a different sect, he's part of a fringe group. Yeah. So he's definitely in the small minority of believers of Mandalorians that think you should never remove the helmet. So, and which opened up a new little chapter in the Mandalorian history in what was it? You're a child of the watch or something.
Yes.
So that was interesting. It's like, oh, you're a fanatic, and you kind of went away. So I thought that was interesting. I was so happy that they finally addressed that.
Yeah, and it's set up now. There was of course all the talk before the episode started airing that Pedro Pascal was leaving the show. He was mad because you don't see his face, stuff like that. And they've actually just now set this up that they could actually get to the point where he will remove his helmet more often. And I think that'd be down the road could be a good thing as long as, and I know that Favreau and Filoni and them will address it properly and not just make it an offshoot thing. It'll become it's a bigger part of the storyline that they're dealing with now.
So what this tells me is one of two things. Either the story was hype and put out there to try to mislead the fans because they are starting to introduce that you can take your helmet off. Now he's choosing not to, but there's no reason why they can't have him start taking. Why would you pay an actor like that if you have no intention of showing the face?
Yeah, I think it's just an interesting bit to the lore of this Mandalorian.
Right. So it's either it was a misdirection piece or there's bigger issues behind the scenes with this actor, and the FaceTime is maybe a part of the issue, but there's something larger at play because they could easily work in taking off the helmet in private scenes,
right?
When he's not in public, like when he's on his ship with him and just Baby Yoda. I'm sure Baby Yoda seeing his face is not going to be a disaster.
No, but it could be he feels that it's a part of his creed that even the child's not allowed. Baby Yoda is not allowed to. I did like though when we first see them in the episode, they're all asleep and Baby Yoda looks like he's actually meditating. He's got his legs crossed and everything else. So that was great. Now this episode was directed by Bryce Dallas Howard.
I don't know if you want. I've got if you don't have anything to share, I have some of the concept art.
Oh yeah, great. I forgot to pull this up. Yeah. One thing I liked about this was the opening sequence. She gave homage to her father from Apollo 13. And it was pretty much almost a shot by shot recreation of when the capsule was coming back into the Earth's atmosphere in Apollo 13 that her dad did.
This was a great, what I love about how Filoni and Favreau are doing things is they're staying so true to the feel of the Star Wars universe, but still giving us great glimpses of like Mon Calamari is a water planet, and it's like a water-based life form and stuff. And they're doing such a great job of like the feel of like this fishing town in a Star Wars universe. And so we see the Razor Crest coming in, very damaged.
Oh yeah.
and I love seeing the attempted landing. I'll let you cover that part.
Yeah, I mean, if you when you watch the episode as it's coming in, the beacon to kind of bring ships into a planet is down. Now, is it down in their end or the ships? Probably the ships because the ship's just severely damaged. So he says bring it in on manual, which means you see him come in. The ship's coming in like this, and he has to flip up to allow the heat to come underneath it. It's just like when the space shuttle would come into the Earth's atmosphere here.
And we've never seen a Star Wars ship enter that way, I don't believe.
No, they always just kind of go in. You never see the
and they go in at a nice angle so they don't get friction burning going.
Yeah, so now we know that in the Star Wars universe.
He had to go in hard because he had just enough fuel to land. So he had to go in as fast as possible, which meant a straight drop. I love too, even the small effects. You see little pieces of the ship falling off into the atmosphere as it was going through.
Oh yeah, as it's burning and everything else. And but that's the thing. I mean, what we've seen before in Star Wars, they all just kind of go in and out of the atmosphere. And now we know that it's because of the technology they've established that would bring a ship in and out. So it doesn't have to worry about the heat panels and things like that, like we see on our space shuttles and spacecraft here in Earth. So it kind of gives some like credence on how they do things and not just poo-pooing science and physics and that. But yeah, it comes in hard. And what I like is as he comes in and they contact say Razor Crest, and you're coming in too fast, you got to slow down. He's sitting in the landing pad. And he basically just has the retros. He has the frog lady helping out, holding back a lever.
And Baby Yoda was eyeing those eggs.
Oh, yeah. He was looking at them. And then when they land, they crash and fall. And then, of course, they flip over
just
into
when
the water.
You think everything's fine, the engine blows out and it goes boom, right in the water.
Yep. And then the crane pulls it out, and then we get to see that it's half of an AT-AT, and the top is a crane. And I'll be honest, I missed that the first time, and I saw that. I went back and rewatched it this morning just to see that part. Because I saw some pictures online, so I knew it. Look at it. It's like, even in the background, if you look in the background, there's another one way back. I was like, cool. So we see that a lot of these planets that had been under Imperial control are repurposing leftover equipment for use within their worlds and that. So.
I gotta give a shout out to Dave Dorman, legendary artist and friend, and he's awesome. And he's one of the people where I first fell in love with Star Wars art was through his art. Mm-hmm. And he did pieces a long time ago that expanded the Star Wars universe in this way. And he had a piece on Endor where you're seeing the chicken walkers or ATSTs, those two-legged AT-AT, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And they were modified to where they were removing logs and carrying, like they had like almost like forklifts or something where like they were grabbing stuff. And it was the first time I saw Star Wars tech being used in a modified way to do labor. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, of course they would do something like that, you know? And I love that kind of carried over into this episode, turning an AT-AT into a crane.
Oh yeah, that was fantastic. And then we saw the Rebel ship in the Imperial.
And of course, then we see the Mon Calamari on the deck watching him. And the thing that's going viral is his sweater. Have you seen that?
No.
So the one that looks like Admiral Akbar.
Right.
He's got this blue sweater on underneath his overalls. Well, it's a JCPenney women's. It's in the catalog, women's catalog. It's a sweater. In the catalog, everyone's like, why is this Mon Calamari wearing a woman's sweater from JCPenney? But I loved his now, was he voiced by a famous person?
If that one I believe was let me see here. I had pulled him up and looked at
it sounded like the guy who was in Big Trouble in Little China, and like he was in tons of stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like James Hong.
That's what it sounded like.
And I don't see a listing for him on there. D. Bradley Baker did the Frog Lady and Frogman voices. He's uncredited. I haven't seen anything on IMDb, at least, who credits that. But yeah, I thought it sounded like James Hong, who was Lo Pan in Big Trouble in Little China.
And he is still alive.
Oh yeah. He's still alive.
21 years old.
Yeah. And then the dock worker, though, was a gentleman by the name of Frank Ipolito. I'm going to probably get that wrong. And he is a makeup person for a lot of different shorts and movies and things like that. And he worked on Star Wars Force Awakens. He did work on the Chronicles of Riddick and a few other stuff like that. He was a lot of shorts, some TV movie documentaries. He's worked for Disney different ways and stuff like that. So he's definitely got some work behind him that he's credited for. And who knows, he probably has a lot more actual work he's done, but he's also he's done some costume work. He's a producer, mostly shorts and things like that. There was like a series called Zombie Family. He worked on that as associate producer. He's done some directing and some other little things, movies and that. So, but he was the dock worker that we see, and it ends up being probably the one that was fixing the ship for 1,000 credits.
Yes, which cracked me up because at the end he's like, "This is all you could do. I gave you 1,000." You got to remember 1,000 credits in Star Wars. If we go back to A New Hope, 1,000 credit to fly to Alderaan, they paid $15,000 to Han Solo just to be a taxi service. When Luke sold his speeder, he only got $10,000 for it. He was complaining about how much he got. So to repair a ship the size of the Razor Crest, which was basically a complete rebuild needed, yeah. Give him $1,000 wasn't much.
Yeah. And we see that basically it was squid rigged, yep. And in fact, it was a squid.
Yep.
So, but yeah, yep. It's gonna be interesting to see where he goes from here now, because the 3 episodes have been pretty much all back to back to back. So there's been no time in between where he could have done something else. So
I love this artwork here too. All the artwork is just phenomenal.
Oh yeah, so this is Ryan Church. We've seen his stuff before on the stuff, and fantastic. I mean the level of detail on the concept work is beyond what most shows would do. So.
And then I'm guessing this is a scene where it fell into the water. Now they didn't actually show this scene, but this would have been a great scene to show. Yeah. Just from that image there, that view in the cockpit, the water coming up. looks great.
Yeah. Well, we saw when they brought him up, though, they were still in the cockpit area and everything else was there. Oh, I love this. I loved him playing with the food in the episode.
Yeah, so we have a running concept theme going about Baby Yoda's appetite and eating things that are alive. I think Baby Yoda got a lesson in empathy. Let's see if they have it here. Let's see.
Yeah, he ends up while
There we go.
The Mandalorian has to go off to help out. Yeah, this was great. They want to, of course, the Mon Calamari want to steal the Beskar because Beskar is
actually not
very
that.
valuable.
The Quarren.
Yeah, that was. Yep. So it's kind of their version of the Kraken.
Yep.
And that was on the ship, and this is when we, before we see the Mandalorians come to save our Mandalorian, Jin. So, but yeah, there's this thing there. But I like, though, when he goes to the frog parents, because he asked them to watch them, which is funny because I saw a thing talking about how definitely this is wholly unrealistic and with Mandalorians doing. Nobody can find a babysitter that easy as much as he does. So, but yeah, this was a great sequence here. I love this artwork. This is gorgeous.
Now, one thing I want to point out too about this artwork is look at his armor. This is his old armor. So I think this is production concept pieces they did either even before season 1 was out or finished. Because he's wearing the old armor here. So this was not done like.
Yeah, no, I would say a bunch of the stuff was done prior to them even filming season 2, anything to do with season 2, and probably most of these people had not seen anything but the original concept art from season 1,
right?
So hadn't been released yet because Favreau had announced months prior to season 1 coming out that he was already working on season 2. Yeah. So there is definitely the references back to what they had, which was I like that Favreau and Filoni didn't give people glimpses into certain things from season 1 before it aired. They gave them just the basic stuff they released, so that way it kept the secret, right? And allowed us all to enjoy this without having it spoiled. The day before, like, oh my god, tomorrow's episode's gonna have blah blah blah.
Right.
So, but yeah, I love that too.
The boat. This is another example of how they are taking real world things, boats, and how do you make it into a Star Wars vehicle? And they got they put elements in here that are familiar but different. Yeah. Like for instance, the wings here. This is very reminiscent of the T-16 Skyhopper, that the toy that Luke is playing with in episode 4, and he references how he would bullseye womp rats.
Right.
And this is very reminiscent of the style of the wing. Then you got these fins on here that you see on speeder bikes and also like Jabba's sail barge. So they take these elements and incorporate them into something familiar like a boat, and you have, voila, a Star Wars boat, and they stay true to the feel of their universe.
Yeah, I thought it was besides T-16, it reminded me of a B-wing.
Yep. I could
very similar. Yep. Yeah, the wing is very similar. The T-16 and the B-wing.
I can see that.
So, which I always liked the B-wing. I thought that was a cool ship.
And just once again, the effects are so phenomenal. You feel like they actually filmed on water.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And they filmed even the ship coming into the atmosphere. In some ways, when I first watched it, I recognized the thing, and it was also not just Apollo, but it looked something straight out of a couple episodes of the Firefly. And it made me think, I was like, man, if they did Firefly again, the things they could do with this new technology they're using for the Mandalorian filming would allow them to open up a whole new world, of storytelling within that.
Honestly,
that series too.
Firefly could exist in Star Wars very easily. We need them just to sell what is it, Fox?
Fox Disney owns it already.
Oh, Disney owns it. Okay, great. Yeah. Let's get Filoni and Favreau making some Firefly episodes as well.
There we go.
But look at this. It feels like this busy, wet port. Here you see the Imperial freighter coming in, or whatever it was called, which
we saw in the distance in the episode as it was basically hovering, and we saw the two AT-AT cranes working. So it's definitely a working dock. I mean, if you drive around some of the coast, the east or west coast, and some of the dock areas, you see some of these giant cranes, and it all felt like exactly how it would feel in Star Wars versus the real world. And then, of course, the battle on the Imperial ship was great.
Oh yeah, this is where the story transitions into a heist story. Basically, they're there to steal weapons. I love to, it turns into they're hijacking the ship as a whole, and he's like, "You're changing the terms of the deal," and she's like, "This is the way." She uses his words against him.
Yeah.
This is the way.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's the thing we know is, with the Mandalorians after the Purge, and she references the Purge in the episode.
Yes.
So that's a definitely a good point that they put in there of when the Empire was basically knew they couldn't control the Mandalorians, they come to try to kill everybody. And
I love that we got to see stormtroopers in action again.
Yeah, and we do see a hologram of Moff Gideon.
And these are actual stormtroopers now. These are not remnant stormtroopers where their armor is falling apart and is all bad. These are actual active duty Imperials where their armor is clean. They have the proper weapons. You see them fight in formation. So that was fun to see.
Yeah, and that's the thing is the difference between them and the Remnant, because the Remnant ones we see them early on. Well, those are just sitting there on when we first see them with in the early episodes of the first season. But then of course towards the end when Moff Gideon shows up, and it's like, okay, it shows that the Imperial Navy is still active, though they don't have necessarily a central government there. So there's still a group, and of course Moff Gideon is leading this group we keep seeing. So at different times, and of course they're still trying to acquire weapons. Things like that, because they don't have the original Imperial channels that they used to have to get the equipment they need. So this is, of course, pre-First Order.
Correct. Yep. And this is kind of, they were like basically like machine gun blasters. It looked like how fast they could fire.
Yes.
But love this scene too. There's nothing about that doesn't say Star Wars there.
Yeah, the whole ship and everything else, and it was great. And I love that the whole heist sequence in that. So, but yeah, but Baby Yoda eating was great. And then, like I said, he gets to leave with the frog people, and that's where Baby Yoda learns a little empathy as he meets the one offspring that they have now, sitting in front of him. So.
Which is over here. There we go. The concept art of that one was here.
Yep.
And he didn't try to eat it.
Nope. In fact, you kind of see the look they did with the puppet. That kind of, it's like you could say he's learning, about life a little bit in life forms.
Well, and then the Mandalorian's response to him as he was taking Baby Yoda out was, I don't need another pet. So yeah. I'm guessing Baby Yoda must have asked if they could take it home with them.
Yes. which children do. They want to take the babies home.
So this now sets up, we've got a couple things going on here. Let's get to them. There we go. So where do we go from here? We've got, what we find out is Bo-Katan is actively searching for the Darksaber. Sounds like she suspects Moff Gideon has it, but doesn't know for sure.
Yeah.
So she's looking for the Darksaber so that she can lead Mandalore, because that's the symbol of uniting Mandalore. Right. So we'll see where that goes. Obviously, she's looking for him separate now because the Mandalorian goes his own ways to find the Jedi, the sorcerers who can help him find Yoda's kind.
And she says right away, you need to go to this world here and you need to find Ahsoka Tano.
That's right.
And tell her that Bo-Katan sent you.
That's right.
So obviously they're still in thing. And if we are going to see Sabine at all, that might be the opportunity to see Sabine.
Yeah, exactly. And we could also theoretically see Ezra in live action.
There has been.
We don't know where he's at right now. The last we know of Ezra was, he was with those hyperspace whales who took him and Thrawn out to somewhere. So we could get Thrawn back at the end of this season too. We don't know. We don't know where Ezra and Thrawn are at this time.
Yeah. This is episode 4 coming up this week. There's 8 episodes for the season again.
We also have oh God, I'm blanking on her name. pilot for in Rebels. Why am I blanking? We got Sabine, Ezra, Kanan.
Oh, you're talking about the captain.
Yes.
The ship, yes.
But Syndulla. She could be. We could see live action her because she's still alive at this time. The Ghost has made a number of appearances in Rogue One story. Also in Rise of Skywalker, we see the Ghost in it. so we can see the ghost. So there's a lot of potential here for some really awesome moments coming up. Zeb, we might see live action Zeb.
That'd be great. We see him kind of in the background of what was the one that was the standalone solo story? Not solo, but the other one, standalone Star Wars story. I blank on it. Prior to A New Hope. So
Rogue One.
Rogue One, yeah. He's like supposed to be way off in the distance somewhere.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
So
cool.
In that, but it's they've never really shown him. But I'd like to see more of him. In fact, I got him right here. So.
And Zeb was really the original, based upon the original Ralph McQuarrie sketch for a Wookiee.
Yes, and that was a great way to incorporate what Ralph McQuarrie.
It's amazing to me. You look at how the depth and richness of the Star Wars universe, and we are still getting new stuff from Ralph McQuarrie's original art. It's like so amazing.
Oh yeah, the amount of work he did prior to the original Star Wars movie in the 70s is just he just did hundreds of paintings.
How cheap was he? Because like George Lucas was a nobody back then. So like, who was Ralph McQuarrie to do like 8,000 pieces of concept art?
But what was Ralph McQuarrie doing back then? Let's find out. I shall go to the interwebs.
I just like, how many pieces did he do? Like, can you like, and where did George Lucas? Either George Lucas had much deeper pockets than we knew, or Ralph McQuarrie really undersold himself.
Yeah.
Hopefully he at least kept the rights to his own images so that he could make the money off of it down the road.
Yeah. Well, it says on here on McQuarrie's Wikipedia, which he passed away in 2012.
Yep.
He was born in 1929. So he was already in his 40s when he started working for doing the Star Wars stuff. And he had been doing all kinds of other paintings and stuff for different magazines.
Buck Rogers, I believe, the concept art for Buck Rogers.
Yeah, and it just says that he met Lucas, liked his work, and then he commissioned him to illustrate several of the scenes from the script film.
Battlestar Galactica he worked on too.
Yeah, and so it was and Lucas liked John Berkey, and so some of the stuff maybe stuff like that. So and then there was other stuff. I think some of the concept stuff was stuff that McQuarrie had done through other things, but I don't know how many he did actually paintings. I was trying to see if they say anything here, but he's done stuff like with Star Trek. He worked on some of the Star Wars sequels. He did some of the designer work on the prequel trilogy. I don't know what he got paid initially, but I have a feeling that he got points from Lucas on the original Star Wars. Probably got a point or two, which translates into good money as and residual money as the movie gets replayed and stuff like that. So that's how a lot of people make their money. Is they get what's called points, and they're not an actual producer, but they actually get residual checks. So. He died of Parkinson's, which is a shame to see that too. But yeah, I don't know how much he did, but gosh, it seems like there's so much stuff he did. And he created all these
stuff
designs,
coming out. Yeah. It's like always. It's like, how are we still getting new stuff?
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, well, I've got a book. I don't have it handy here. It's in my other room. I want to get back out, and it's about yay thick. I got it off a Kickstarter of all places, and it's all kinds of McQuarrie artwork that he did that's not Star Wars. And so he just did tons of stuff. So he was just a constantly working illustrator, concept artist, and he must have just been lightning fast. He must have been really quick on everything.
Oh, yeah. I got to share this. So this is going to be a good illustration as to why when you do a project, hiring the right artist matters. Okay. Lucas had the vision to hire the proper concept artist. Okay. These are original sketches for Star Wars before McQuarrie. So, oops, I got the wrong screen. I'm trying to get the article. Let me stop that one. The article there, share screen. Where is it? Right here. So these were for sale. These are original sketches for Star Wars. Can you share that?
Yep.
So this was original sketches. So you can see the difference of before McQuarrie and after McQuarrie.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the only two. Okay. I've also seen one that was done like of all the Cantina characters. That I think it was George Lucas that drew it. So it does illustrate, could you imagine had he never hired Macquarie and that's the source material we were working with?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is the book that I got, The Art of Ralph Macquarie, and it's over 400 pages of non-Star Wars art. And
That's what's amazing is his just a volume of work he's done, and it's all high end.
Yeah, this was 5 years ago. It's a gorgeous book. I'll try to remember and get it out, and maybe I'll have it on the air next week.
Oh, you got it?
I own it. Yeah, I saw this and I had to do it. And look, only 661 backers, and they pledged 73,000. You can actually order a copy of it still, if it's still there. Let's see here. Yeah, here's Dreams and Visions Press. That was the people that put it out, and they have all kinds of cool stuff. There's the Archives, The Art of Ralph Macquarie, standard $75. There's a deluxe one. There's the Macquarie Tribute Limited Edition art print by Brian Rood, who's a fantastic designer in his own right.
Oh, yeah. And Michigander.
Yep, Michigander, yeah. And that's so all kinds of cool stuff here that they've put out, and definitely leading into that. And so definitely I highly recommend checking that out. Actually, I clicked over the page here and it didn't show, but show you what this is. But yeah, this is dreamsandvisionspress.com if you want to get a copy of that book. I highly recommend it if you're into his artwork. The amount of stuff that's in there is just phenomenal. For $75 as an artwork, people may balk at the price, but that's definitely not a bad price considering the type of book that it is. So it's 13 by 9.5, 432 pages. I assume it's still hardcover. And again, it's so this is all his non-Star Wars work. So I think this is just fantastic that they included all that. So
yeah.
And it's great to see the tradition of Ralph Macquarie continuing in The Mandalorian with the concept art, the way people are doing that, as well as the fact they're incorporating what he created into this to make it all canon. It's just fantastic. And I can't wait. This week's episode, the IMDb is speculating it's going to bring back, was it Gina Carano?
Okay.
Because the little blurb says he meets up with some previous friends. So I assume it's going to be Gina and then Apollo Creed's character.
So let's see. Mandalorian. So that'll be chapter 12. Let's see what the synopsis is. Let's see. Oh, and then that's right. Let's see here. Oh, we have no special. Everything's Fridays. Okay. You know how last time there was some that were like on a Wednesday or a Thursday?
Yeah, they did like the Wednesday prior to Christmas, I think it was. Because of the way it fell. I think even maybe been Thanksgiving as well.
Yeah. Disney is also Disney Plus has now passed 70 million subscribers.
Oh, I'll tell you. So it's been great. Yeah. The rumor is, and we'll know for sure, is Cara Dune comes back as Gina Carano, and then Carl Weathers returns as Grief Karga, which actually I can believe that because this week's Mandalorian Mondays, which is the new stuff release product through StarWars.com for Mandalorian, had his Black Series character, and they usually tie in what's being released product wise with the episodes around that time. So at least that's the last couple episodes.
Just to give you an idea of what this means and why the power of streaming. Mm-hmm. That article said they've passed 73 million subscribers. What is it? $100 for a year? What is it?
Yeah, it's if you figure just even figure out a month, 73, you said 73 million, right?
Well, if you do $100 a year,
yeah,
that is $7.3 billion.
Yep.
That they're taking in from subscriptions.
Yep. And that's why they announced, Disney's announced that they're really doubling down on everything to do with Disney Plus, because they're making as much money there or more than they are in the theatrical releases, which they still will do with theatrical releases.
It's less risk because they can put something risky out that they might not normally do. And all the money I'm paying for the subscription will absorb the cost, because if they bomb on one thing, I'm still subscribing for other things. So if it bombs, it's like, okay, we took a chance. It didn't work. We'll move on. Whereas if you do it for a movie release, you don't get that money back. It's gone.
Right.
So
and that's why we're seeing Disney's been not as worried about putting things like Mulan and they charged for that, but they put like Onward on the system really quick during the initial COVID, and we've got
not going to be charged in December, I think.
Yeah, December 3rd it comes out for everybody to watch, which is still pretty quick.
Yeah,
it's already out on Blu-ray. Came out a couple weeks ago. I have not bought it or seen it yet. I'm waiting until I see it before I buy it, because as much as I wanted to see it, I've been wholly disappointed in a lot of the live action remakes by Disney of the animated stuff.
Here, it says on here, December 4th is the official launch day for Disney Plus.
Okay, so it's coming out in a couple weeks here.
You bought it, right?
No, I haven't bought it yet. I have not seen it yet. I'm waiting for it to hit Disney Plus, only because as much as I wanted to see it in the theater, I didn't want to spend $30 to own it on digital. I saw it came out on Blu-ray, and I said, well, it's already been out a couple weeks. I'll wait now for the Disney Plus, because I missed the release of it. So,
yeah.
And I want to make sure, because it's the live action ones I've been, for the most part, disappointed. There's some stuff I enjoyed, but it's like even like Aladdin, I enjoyed it. I liked what they did with story. I felt Will Smith was the weakest part of the whole thing. Only because his singing range just didn't fit what Robin Williams did. And not that anybody has to be Robin Williams, but it didn't feel the energy coming out of it. It felt more like just phoned in and stuff like that. But so I'll check that out when that comes up. And then they're talking about the Pixar movie Soul was supposed to come out this month, and that's going to go straight to Disney Plus, it sounds like. So they're not worried about putting these on the streaming, even for no extra charge on some of this stuff, because of the fact that when you got 70 something million people, like you said, over $7 billion coming in, and I don't watch the stock very much, but I've noticed when Disney pops up lately, stock prices are still going up. So obviously there's still the investors are still like here. And you're sharing something.
You mentioned Will Smith. He's got a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion coming up. So
yeah, they're gonna HBO Max, and they're supposed to be doing a new series, and it's actually more of a drama than a comedy, as they revisit that storyline again. So it'll be interesting to see. I like Will Smith, and I think some of the best stuff he did is the stuff he started with like Independence Day through Men in Black, heck, even Wild Wild West. While it was kind of not a great story, it was still fun. I think he did a great job in that. And I in the last several movies he's done, really the Bad Boys for Life, I really enjoyed the best out of the last several things he's brought out. He's not a bad actor. I think he's decent. I think the roles he chooses has not been great. I did like Bright, though. Bright on Netflix was great. And they're supposed to be doing another one of those.
He always does a good job playing a cop.
Yes.
or some form
military
of
and things like that.
Military or federal agent. Like Men in Black, Independence Day. It's when he tries to get the problem is he's got a great smile. He's like a really nice guy. He's the good guy that you like. And when he tries to play a bad guy, it doesn't work for me. Like when he was Deadshot, I couldn't buy him as a bad guy.
No, it didn't fit, because the Will Smith we see in a lot of stuff is a lot of the same, and so I just was definitely that. But definitely check out for product wise, check out StarWars.com for some stuff they come out with after the episodes.
Have you stayed up to date any on Star Trek Discovery?
Yes,
I have not. Got to get back into it.
Yeah, I watched last week's episode. It was great. There's a new one tomorrow. Doug King says Bright was great. He wish they explored the lore behind it. I think that with the next one, they're supposed to do another one, so we'll see when that comes out eventually. And Will Smith, I believe, is a part of that as well still.
One before we get going, we both watched The Queen's Gambit on Netflix.
I think next week we'll talk a little more about it, but since we're kind of ran over with Mandalorian as usual, but I liked it. It was one of those series that it's very interesting. It's a period piece set in the 60s, and it deals with it's not
a real character. I tried Googling her.
Yeah, I did.
But the way they do it, I thought it was a real character.
Well, it was a book written that came out in the early 80s that this is based on. And I guess it's been bounced around for 30 years before finally they made it. And reading about it, reading the Wikipedia about the author, stuff like that, it was his version of the Bobby Fischer story in a way, which took place during that time, because they both won the championship the same year.
Except
his world and
it's
real
Bobby
world.
Fischer with a girl,
Yes.
but with Rocky IV as the finale. It was the entire final episode is Rocky IV.
Yeah.
It was like the way the crowd was. You turn the crowd. It's like, I must break you, and he's not a machine. He bleeds. I mean, it's like all those moments you could totally see happen.
Yep. And we're dealing with someone that's in an orphanage who gets adopted, who has a drug problem because they actually gave them drugs. So
even like the scene where like the old coach, I expected him to rise up and say, "'Cause Mickey loves you." It was Rocky IV.
Yeah, we need about you're gonna eat thunder and crap lightning. You're
gonna eat Valium and who knows what else.
Crap Percocets. I don't know. But it was good though. It was one of those ones that I'm watching this going, in some ways I was going, man, why do I like this? But I think what I liked about it is they truly explored the game of chess. And while I really cannot play chess. I'm not good at it at all.
Yeah.
To see how they dealt with it from the different levels and how there are prodigies of chess. And that's kind of what she was, as well as, Bobby Fischer. So it kind of, again, it wasn't his life, but they took inspiration from his story and how he was a young chess champion and moved on. And then dealing with, at the time, the Soviet Union's use of chess as a tool, as a control for dominance in the world. So,
but I don't understand this.
Yeah.
Chess players, when they're masters and stuff, everyone treats them like they're so intelligent and so smart, like they can do so much. Why are nobody in the military or in the commercial world? No one wants to hire them. Like, if they're so genius at decision making and everything else, why aren't people throwing millions at them to run their companies or run their militaries? Or, well, you got great strategy, let's use you.
They do use a lot of those people. A lot of those people end up in, and of course, this is science fiction, but in Starship Troopers, what's his name, goes off to be part of Games and Theories. Well, they have that in the military. Yeah. I mean, they're not going to run things. What they do is they help run the simulations. They can't. Most of those people couldn't run any of that stuff, but they can run the simulations. They can help create, scenarios, and that's where you see a lot of that happening from people that do really good in like chess and gaming and things like that. So it's scenarios, but it's not going to be. They would never be in charge because one is their personalities can't handle it. Right. Most of them are still very, no matter, even when they play the games, they're very introverted. They're very themselves. So they don't get outside that realm of control. They can barely control. They control themselves. They control the game. Yeah. They can't control anybody else. Right. And that's all that is. So
when I look it up, other jobs that major chess players had, mathematician is one that a lot of them have. Mm-hmm. Engineers, math teachers. Let's see what other ones are popping up as jobs that a lot of the top ones have. One was a psychologist. One became a successful composer.
And I could see that too, because they're people that do music. They can play chess well because it kind of fits into that's a regimented way of going. Chess is very regimented for everything I've ever read about it. You can't just move, arbitrarily. There's always, you have to think several ways ahead. And even with the music, you're thinking several stanzas ahead as you're playing the current stanza. And that's also why a lot of people that are musicians actually get into computer programming.
Is this real? So I guess Benjamin Franklin was a great chess player when they're talking about his accomplishments.
I can see that,
They got his books, and one of the books, I gotta share this. I don't know if this is true or not, but supposedly this is true. Where is this? Share screen. I've never heard of this book.
Fart proudly.
Writings of Benjamin Franklin you never read in school.
It could be. He was definitely he was not conventional at all in a lot of ways.
This book here, On the Choices of a Mistress by Benjamin Franklin. So anyway, I got to find this book now.
There you go. Fart proudly. Yep.
Hey, he's a man of great wisdom. So anyways.
Well, hey, he's the one that told us, God gave us beer because he wanted us to be happy.
That's right.
So, hey, this was fun. Definitely check out Queen's Gambit. Maybe we'll get into a little bit more next week before we get into the new episode of Mandalorian, which we hope we don't want to bore you guys with, but Mandalorian's been so awesome. They got the new Star Wars Lego holiday special on Disney Plus. Watch it, and you can tell me how much it sucks as much as I thought it did. And we will talk more about that all next week. So, Scott, anything else before we go?
That's it.
All right, have a good one, guys.